I want to preface this story by telling you that what I'm about to describe actually happened. While it is not uncommon for people to tell exaggerated or imaginary tales on the internet, this particular tale is based on direct, personal experience. It is also, largely, a dream. But also not. I used to be a very active dreamer. I've dreamt about places and people that seemed so vivid that I can still recall them in detail, years after they passed through my head. On occasion, the dreams have been so lively that I actually started to miss some of the people I'd gotten to know as I slept. But that was years ago. I've been on medication since, and had trouble sleeping. I've had a breathing issue as a result of years of painful allergies and throat infections, and I just can't sleep as well as I used to. Hence, those vivid dreams are a thing of the past. Until the 1st of October, a few days ago. I went to bed early, having taken no medication or external stimulant. It was a Monday night, nothing in particular. Ordinary workday, ordinary meal, ordinary boredom. As an aid to fall asleep, I put on a blindfold to shield me from the morning sun. As I start to relax, I can hear words forming in my head. I don't remember the first words, as I get the jumps that shock me awake. But it feels different, and I have a sharp cold spot on the left side of my head. "There," I remember a voice saying. "I set it up." Suddenly, the dream is upon me. I was immediately aware that I was in a dream, but I felt like I'd been taken hostage. I'm sitting in a cafe next to a railroad station. Tables made of wood, coloured with a bright red. Small blue vases with yellow plastic flowers. A nearby table has some sort of menu, but I don't. It is an early autumn morning, with thick humidity coating the wide window to my left. It is cold outside, but very warm inside. I'm sweating. The voice speaks again, from the other side of a stuffed door to my right. "It is called Devoid. I put it there," it says. It is a woman. She speaks in an odd accent, and she has a determined tone. She puts a lot of emphasis on the vowels. "When you wake up, you'll still feel it," she continues. "It is cold. It drains you." I'm sorry. Apart from the voice, all I hear is a small popping noise from somewhere in the cafe. I can't make out a direction, like lips lightly smacking, or bubbles popping. It is very rhythmic. "I'm going to take you to the parade of exits," she explains. "If you refuse, you'll be punished." This is when I realise that the popping sound is coming from the table behind me. A chill shoots up my spine, and I remember feeling my physical body sparkle with goosebumps. I was asleep, and also not. It was weird. As I got up from the table and turned around, I saw her in clear daylight. She was slightly shorter than me, wearing a blue t-shirt too large for her frame. She was young, freckled, and had a slouching stance. She was so bent that she could touch her knees with the palm of her hands. The sound was coming from her neck. Her head had snapped so violently to one side that a windpipe was sticking out of her. There was no blood. A skin flap caused a popping noise as it interfered with her breathing. In, pop, in, pop. Her head hung loose like a rat's tail, flopping about as she started to walk up to me. Her face, that I glimpsed as it rolled by, was serene. Her eyes were a beautiful shade of brown, and her hair was auburn. As her head rolled to her front, she accidentally stepped on her own hair and fell helplessly towards me. Instinctively, I caught her. I was face to face with her broken windpipe. I could feel my physical body thumping as her body fell into mine. I dropped her and ran, shrieking. I haven't had a nightmare like this in years. I could hear something flailing behind me as the popping noise got louder and more frequent, like a dog scrambling to get a grip on a slippery floor. She fumbled after me. I rushed through the front door of the cafe. "Just follow me," said the voice, seemingly coming from everywhere. I remember thinking there might be two of them, or more. Please follow me, or be punished. I couldn't think straight. I was terrified and could actually feel my pulse racing. I tried forcing myself to wake up, but I couldn't. The cold on the side of my left temple had intensified, and trying to open my eyes felt like forcing myself to stare into the sun. I exited the cafe through the front door. I was confronted with a black room. It was hot and had an absurd, sour, moist smell. The door shut behind me. The acoustics made it feel like a small room, much like a sort of walk-in closet. There was no echo to my steps, but there was a peculiar texture to the floor. I had trouble keeping my balance as I realized it was moving. As I put my hand to the darkness in front of me, I could feel myself caressing small, slightly moving, human faces. A dry tongue stroked the tip of my ring finger and moaned. I turned around, trying to find my way out, but I couldn't. The door was gone. It was just me and the room of faces. I heard her again. "This is a punishment room," she said. "Now you'll listen, and we'll go to the parade of exits. I will make you remember." I had no idea what she meant, but at that point I was willing to accept anything. I could feel myself breathing second-hand air, and I was starting to convulse. I could feel my physical body burping and turn on its side. "I'm going to pick a song," she said. "A catchy one. The first one on your mind." Of course, it was Happy by Pharrell Williams. It gets stuck in my head so easily. I hate that song. The walls opened in front of me, and I'm in a room. It is a young man's room, with a gaming rig set up in one corner, a small table, a couch, and an older TV. Dark curtains cover the windows. I've never seen this room before. Do kids unironically have Call of Duty posters nowadays? Sitting on the couch is one of my younger cousins. I haven't seen him since he was a kid. He's like 16 at this point. I see him sitting there, clear as day. He doesn't notice as I enter the room. That damn Happy song keeps playing from behind the wall from which I came. It is loud, obnoxiously so, as is appropriate. I sit down next to my younger cousin, and his face is slouching. He is so sad that his cheeks have started to droop, exposing the bottom of his eyeballs. His skin is almost blue, and cold to the touch. He is staring blindly ahead, his eyelids covering the top half of his eyes. I try to shake him, but my hands pass right through him. His face keeps slouching, and part of his chin starts dripping like a slow, chunky fluid onto the dark rug. As the song reaches its chorus, his head snaps towards me. His eyelids retract, exposing an unending, ceaseless stare. His mouth is wide open, to the point where a normal jaw would have detached from the skull. He screams, but there is no sound. He screams so violently that his body starts shaking. I can see the back of his throat. He snaps his head back, breaking his neck, making his windpipe protrude. Pop. No blood. He freezes, like someone pushed a pause button. The song keeps playing, and I'm crying. I haven't seen him in years, and now I have this image tattooed in my mind. This is the first time I manage to wake up. I throw away my blindfold and sit straight up. The left side of my head feels dry and icy cold. I remember going into the bathroom to clear my face with hot water. There were tears on my cheeks, making me feel warm. I don't remember going back to bed, but at some point, I must have. Suddenly, I'm back in the dream. Back in the cafe. I can hear the popping noise behind me. "This is a baseline rewiring," she explains. "I needed a powerful image for you to associate with something you can't avoid hearing. That way, you can't forget me." I could hear my physical body mumbling, "What do you want?" I could hear it, as if spoken from above me. "I'm taking control," she told me. "It's called wiring mementos. The first one is unpleasant and violent, but you won't even notice the others. Tomorrow, I'll make another. You won't remember it." "Why?" Then I woke up, 1 hour before my alarm rang. I couldn't go back to sleep. It was so vivid. I had to tell someone. It felt counterintuitive to want to remember this kind of absurd, horrid dream, but I felt compelled. The following nights, I've been waking up with particular songs stuck in my head. I fought the law, Tears in Heaven. I haven't heard any of them in years, but all of a sudden, they're just there, on the surface. They make me feel weird listening to them, and it has affected my mood. At times, it makes me feel happy. At other times, I get this sudden, powerful sense of dread, as if knowing for certain I'm about to get tortured at any moment. I have no idea what's going on, but I still have this cold spot on the left side of my temple. It is something called Devoid. I don't know her name, or what she wants, but she is there, and she wants me to remember her. To a point.